Okay, so today we are going to learn how to make an educational card or board game in your language. We're going to go through 5 steps. Step 1, decide the outcome. By that, I mean we need to decide what kind of language we are targeting. What do you want your learners to know or be able to do or learn from playing the game? For this, you cannot answer speak the language. We need to be specific. Here, I strongly recommend using chunks instead of individual vocabulary words. Chunks are whole phrases or sentences and are often more useful to learners than individual words. Individual words, or simple morphemes, require more attentional resources to use fluently. For example, if we break up a phrase, "it is blue," into individual words, I would need to understand all the parts. That the word it is a pronoun for third person singular, the word is a verb that refers to a state of being, and blue is an adjective referring to a specific color. That's a lot for a learner to think about to use those words fluently. But if we teach a simple chunk instead, things are simpler. Let's look again at that phrase. The chunk "it is blue" lets me describe everything blue in the world and is grammatically correct, and it gives me the speaking ability as soon as I learn it. When I see the ocean, it is blue. When I see a blue bird, it is blue. All I need to know is that the phrase refers to things that are blue, and I can always learn the individual words later. Point being, use chunks instead of individual words. Okay, step 2. Brainstorm how to teach your outcome. Here's where we need to be creative. Think about your outcome and how you learned it. Or think about ways it's taught in the classroom. Think about how it might be used in everyday life. This step is the start of making your game. You could also look at games you've played in your own life, card games, video games, board games, etc., and think about whether the outcome you chose could work in those games. Pick your favorite idea and then build on it. Step 3. How do players win? Assuming you decided on how you are going to teach your outcome, now ask yourself, how do my players win? Is it through a point system? Is it a race to the end of a board or story? Do your players work together to achieve a goal? After you've picked an idea, I would ask yourself, is it simple? You want your game to be simple to play and learn, so the focus is on your language and the outcome and not on learning the mechanics of the board game. Step 4. Design. Now you've come up with all the pieces you need to make your game. Now go and actually make it. You could choose index cards or sticky notes to use as play cards. You could use a giant poster board as a game board. You could print out pictures, or you could hand draw them yourself. Your game doesn't need to be lavish or professional, it just needs to be playable and fun, which leads us to our final step. Step 5. Playtest. You have the full game, now go teach somebody to play it, and, well, play it. Then, after you've played, ask them how it went. Was the game simple? Did it achieve your outcome in step 1? Was the game fun? After you've done some play tests, now go and improve your game. Run through these steps again and making it something effective that you're happy with. Okay, those are all the steps. Now let's go look at an example. We decided that what we wanted to target was how to describe something. We wanted to give our players chunks they could use to then describe something in Quechua, which is the language that Gabby speaks. And so what we did was we found some pictures that are important in the community where Quechua is spoken. We have llamas, we have corn, sheep, lewa, which is a type of soup made out of grains, harvesting more sheep. And we decided that these pictures were going to be our things that we're describing. So these pictures are what we're describing. And then we also have a little deck over here of phrases or chunks that you can use to describe these. And the way this game works is you have your players sit down and they'll draw a card. So in this case, we have a picture of the harvest, and then we have Quechua phrases here they can use to play on these. And I wrote the English on the back because I don't speak Quechua, to make it easier for demonstration purposes, but you could do it however you wanted. So in this case, it uses 2 ox. I would play that, and if it was correct, I would get a point. And then my partner would go, and they could look at it and think, okay, well, I have a little hand here. Which one of these words might describe this thing? And immediately I see a card for it needs land. Well, I play that, and if it was correct, then the next player would get a point. And each player would do that, and then we would go on to the next round. Discard that, we draw a new one, and again I'd look at my hand, and I would think, okay, does anything in my hand describe this? Well, lewa is made with grains, and it's pretty thick, so I might play that. But let's just pretend that I didn't play the right card. Let's say instead I played that it is short. The Quechua phrase for it is short. Well, soup can't be short. That's kind of weird. So obviously that would be incorrect, and we decided that I would then lose a point. So in the last round, I gained a point for playing a correct card on the harvest, but I played a wrong description on the picture for lewa, and so I would then lose a point. So now I'm at a net 0. My partner is up by 1 point. So really quick, cute little game we thought would be fun to give learners of Quechua chunks they could use to describe some things that might be really common in their culture, where they're from. And now let's go through the steps that we took to make this game. Alright, so step 1, decide the outcome. Gabby and I decided we wanted players to know how to describe things common in their community. Notice this outcome is specific. Step 2, brainstorm how to teach your outcome. Gabby and I brainstormed for about an hour. We talked about places learners might see these pictures. I mentioned using pictures in my classroom. We toyed with the idea of a matching game, but ultimately decided seeing the things the learners described was best, and that maybe they could have phrase cards they play on the pictures. Also notice here we gave players cards with whole phrases or chunks instead of individual words. Step 3, how do players win? We thought cards could be worth points. Every card that was played right would earn a player a point, and the player that got to 10 points the quickest was the winner. We also didn't want players to just guess, so we thought if players played a card wrong, they would lose a point. This way, they would want to try and remember what each description meant. This game design is also simple. You see a picture, play a description card on it, and if you're right, you get a point. If you're wrong, you lose a point. Step 4, design. The design was really basic. We printed out pictures of the cards, I cut out small pieces of paper and just wrote phrases on them. Step 5, playtest. We didn't get a chance to do this, but now we would go out and actually play this game with other people, and then we would ask how it went. Based on their feedback, we would then go back and revise the game. And that's how to make a card game in your language. Thanks for watching.